Wanted to make a video with my thoughts on the game, mostly in comparison to Trails in the Sky. I suppose comparing to all three would be unfair, so just the first one. Spoilers, by the way, don't watch if you care, but I don't know why would you. So I tried to think about what I loved in Trails in the Sky, what I didn't find in Steel. And it all became clear at my first point, main character. In Sky, Estelle is a likable idiot, who sometimes says insightful things. Joshua was also more interesting than Rin, if not because of his character, but because of his straight man routine to silliness of Estelle. They fit each other and worked well off each other, even if I thought she was too good for him. You can do so much better than that, girl! When you've got some characters introduced, but pretty slowly and they have time to play off each other. In comparison, you have a bigger cast right from a get-go in Steel. All the characters are introduced right away, even if in the end someone like Gaius or Marcus didn't play a big role. They all had the spotlight from the beginning. All of them had a chance to show their shtick, such as Alisa being a sucker bitch, who deep down cares about others a lot. Emma being a bookworm who might have a dark secret, Phoebe being a trained soldier with a dark past, and so on. All of them are fine, but throwing them all at once felt rushed, and they had little to no time to breathe. My main problem is with Rin himself. Rin, just like a lot of Japanese protagonists, be it games, anime, or whatever else I can think of right now, is bland. Rin is extremely bland, in fact. He has nothing what defines him. His sword has more personality than he does, which is why the sword whip talk, as I called it, happens so often, I assume. He frequently does speeches and then goes, "But that's just like my opinion, man." As if to make it seem like it's natural to him. It does not feel natural. It feels preachy, like hearing life advice from a toddler. But then he also seems to have a dark secret, a special power which is very dangerous to himself with ours. Just seriously. This is overdone. So overdone, and it feels like it takes away from an already boring character and makes him even more boring. If I had to guess, Cold Steel Story was written a while ago, as in quite a bit before the game came out. But some exec looked at it and thought, "Hey, we need a faceless protagonist who all the schoolboys can identify with. Oh, and give him special secret power, like that Naruto kid. Yeah." I had an idea in my head. What would happen if Rin was removed from the story? Nothing really. Elise is basically the only character which is introduced because of Rin. But she doesn't play any major or even minor role in the story, so nothing really would be lost. Except for old schoolhouse armor, which also feels like a tacked on idea of some stupid exec. "Hey boys, there's a one-house mecha anime, let's do that." Remove that too and then... That's Trails I know and love, alright. Different, sure, but it still is an enjoyable story. You've got plot twists, political intrigue, special power nobody expected, etc, etc. If not for Crow's twist, it is the second biggest thing I would complain about. It came absolutely out of nowhere. A good twist makes sense, a bad twist is nonsense happening because... bananas! The way I would do it differently is instead of him being C, Claire or Osborne should be. Claire would have been especially great as she is openly opposed to them. So she could have went three ways. 1. She was a traitor to Chancellor. Worst one because it's the easiest to uncover and makes for the biggest story. 2. She was working for Chancellor, infiltrating terrorist ranks and being a double agent, eventually resulting in sniping their airship with all the leaders inside. Or 3. She was playing both sides, working for Ouroboros and escalating the conflict. This seems like the most true to the Trails series. Crow, on the other hand, would have left, disillusioned from the happy-go-lucky persona of his. After the speech he would run from the academy and join on whatever side he chooses, be it Liberation Front, Ouroboros, or the Provincial Army. Eventually, over the course of his second game, he would rise through ranks as a prodigy and be a great foil for Class 7. Another thing I didn't mention is shooting the airship. At the time I was shocked that the developers had the balls to offer antagonists like that, and I think they really should have stuck to that. Unexpected death would have really shook everything and made it seem like there's a lot more at stake, or at least what could have happened if Vulcan and Scarlet survived. but crippled and burned, aware of C's betrayal. Now, escalating the conflict even further on a quest for revenge, and then dying in some romantic way together, living happily ever after when they kill C. Aside from those plot points, there's an elephant in the room. Or maybe a whale. Or a freaking black hole, because that's how huge it actually was for me. The last dungeon. Every Trails game had that. Trails in the Sky 1 had a terrible dungeon. Trails in the Sky 2 had a slightly better dungeon. But boy, oh boy, does it not even come close to the awful of Cold Steel. It feels so out of place, so stupidly wrong and ridiculously unimportant that I can't even imagine what were they thinking. I cheat in games, I admit to that. I'm not experiencing the games as per the artistic vision, but good God! I've never got so fed up. Not because of the difficulty, but because of how terribly tedious the whole experience was. I've spent a long time beating the Sky dungeons, and while they were a pain, I never thought about just cheating through them and the bosses. And then you're rewarded with a Gundam. In a game which is basically medieval-ish, steampunk-ish world, you get a Gundam. I really hated how little continuity there was between technology in the Sky and Steel. But again, none of it was anywhere near as bad as Green, Crow, and the bloody dungeon. But I gotta talk about the positives. It isn't all bad after all. The good things are the characters. I didn't complain about them, but in the end they are what carries the game for me. If Sarah wasn't being a silly, irresponsible teacher, I would not have laughed as hard as I did. If Millie wasn't an adorable little goofball, the last few chapters would not have flown by as fast as they did. I was genuinely excited to see what would happen at the summer festival, curious to see what would happen during the next field study, or what new twists will happen to the political situation with Calvard or the Noble faction. It is the same reason I enjoyed Skies as much as I did. Even if parts of the game drag it down, as a whole it is still a treat. Another thing I didn't pay too much attention to, as not to take too long, were the side characters, such as Annabelle, the noble daughter, forced into an arranged marriage who turned into a bum, fishing for her dinner. Or two Thor's students, one a stuck-up rich boy who succeeds in anything he tries, and a girl who, for whatever reason, has a Scottish accent, and is envying how easy it is for the boy. Both of them end up admiring each other by the end of the summer festival. None of this needed to be in the game, but it was, and all the stories in the background add so much to the experience. You could talk to every NPC and not just get
"Helps to have a map,"
or "I am error," or "No lollygagging." Absolutely everyone has a story, no matter how insignificant or unrelated it is, and you can follow its progression over the course of the game. It all helps to see the game world for what it is, an actual world, with actual people living in it. All the dramatic stories around the main characters is just the tip of the iceberg of all the things happening in the world. I did truly enjoy the time I spent with the game, but the flaws were glaring and quite a bit worse from what I experienced in Trails in the Sky. I will still be excited to try it too, especially because it looks like it's truly going to take off. Just like Trails in the Sky 2 did, but I will temper my expectations.